Right now, there is a 7-seat, four-wheel drive SUV sitting on a British forecourt for under £6,000, and the reason nobody will buy it has nothing to do with how it drives. Wrong badge, wrong shape, wrong fuel, according to whatever the headlines were shouting 3 years ago. Meanwhile, you are being sold a small turbocharged crossover with a belt running inside the engine in the oil, and that one job alone is £1,000 when it comes due. 6 SUVs nobody wants. 6 down to 1. And number 1 cost over £60,000 when it was new. Number 6, the Honda CR-V, the 2-litre petrol, 2012 to 2018. Everybody in this country went diesel. Every single one of us. And the used market followed, which means the petrol CR-V got left standing on the forecourt like the last kid picked for football. Look at what it actually is. 2-litre, 4-cylinder, naturally aspirated petrol. Chain-driven. No turbo. No particulate filter, no belt sitting in the oil waiting to shred itself, no high-pressure fuel pump costing you the best part of £1,000 when it lets go, no exhaust gas recirculation valve clogging solid at 80,000 miles. It is a Honda petrol engine bolted into a tall, roomy, comfortable family car, and Honda have been building that engine family for the best part of 30 years. The seat sits at hip height, which matters more than anybody tells you. You do not climb up into it, and you do not drop down into it. You open the door, turn, and sit. The visibility out of it is exactly what an SUV should be and what most modern ones have completely abandoned. It is thirsty round town compared with a diesel, and that is the honest cost of admission. Now the money. A tidy 2-litre petrol CR-V with proper history sits somewhere around £4,000 to £7,000, depending on year and mileage. Servicing is ordinary. Parts are everywhere. Any independent garage in Britain can work on one without a special subscription or a franchise login. Compare that against the small turbocharged crossover everybody is buying instead. Turbo replacement runs from about £900 to £1,500. A wet belt service is around £1,000 and it is not optional. A blocked particulate filter is £1,000 to £1,800. One of those bills is more than the difference in fuel over 5 years. Boring. That is the entire point. That is the simple one. Number 5 is the one nobody wants because of 4 letters on the boot lid, and it seats 7. I am Roy Stroud. 45, 22 years in independent workshops in the Midlands, never worked for a dealership in my life. Nobody pays me to defend a design decision. Hit subscribe. This one could genuinely save somebody a lot of money on their next car. None of this is my opinion. It is DVSA and MOT failure data. What car? Reliability figures, and what comes through the door of an independent workshop every week. Number 5, the Hyundai Santa Fe, the 2.2 diesel, 2012 to 2018. This is a proper 7-seat, 4-wheel drive, family SUV, and in 2026, it is one of the cheapest ways in Britain to buy that much car. Why is it cheap? Because in 2012 half, the country still had Hyundai filed under cheap runabout, and that snobbery has followed the car all the way through the used market. The badge on the boot is the whole reason for the price. The 2.2 common rail diesel is a serious engine. It is not a small unit being strangled to hit a company car tax band. It is a big, torquey 4-cylinder built to pull a caravan up a hill without complaining, and it has a chain rather than a belt. The 4-wheel drive system is straightforward, and the interior is built out of materials that were clearly chosen by somebody expecting the car to still be in use a decade later. It is a diesel, so it wants proper motorway runs to keep the particulate filter happy, and short town trips will eventually cost you money, and here is the number that matters. A good Santa Fe with full history and 7 seats is somewhere around £5,000 to £8,000. A particulate filter, if a previous owner has ruined it doing 2-mile school runs, is £1,000 to £1,800, which is exactly why you buy the one that has lived on a motorway, and you check the service history rather than the mileage. And in 2026, remember this, a Euro 6 diesel is compliant in the London Ultra, low emission zone, and in the clean air zones in Birmingham, Bristol, and the rest. It is not banned, it is not about to be banned. A lot of these cars are cheap because owners panicked and sold, and the people who kept their nerve got the car for less. 7 seats, 4-wheel drive, and a chain-driven engine for the price of a 3-year-old Super Mini. That one is cheap because of the badge. Number 4 is cheap because Britain skipped an entire type of engine. Number 4, the Mazda CX-5, the 2-litre Skyactiv G petrol, 2012 to 2017. While every other manufacturer went down the small turbo route, Mazda dug their heels in and kept building high-compression, naturally aspirated petrol engines. At the time, the motoring press called it stubborn. In hindsight, it looks like the smartest decision anybody made that decade. The 2-litre Skyactiv G is chain-driven. No turbo, no particulate filter, no belt in the oil, no AdBlue tank, no dual-mass flywheel being shaken to pieces by a rough diesel, because there is no diesel. Sit down and write out the list of expensive failures on that engine, and it is embarrassingly short. The car around it is good too. It rides properly, the steering actually tells you something, and the boot is a sensible square shape rather than a styling exercise. The 2.2 diesel version is a different animal, and if it has lived on short journeys, the oil dilution and carbon problems are real, so this recommendation is the petrol specifically. Now, the money. A clean 2-litre petrol CX-5 sits somewhere around £4,000 to £7,000. Servicing is ordinary money at any independent. Insurance is ordinary, parts are ordinary. Now put that against the modern replacement people are buying. Small capacity, turbocharged, direct injected. That means a turbo at 900 to 1500, carbon cleaning on the intake at 300 to 600, which comes back again in 30,000 miles, and on a lot of them a belt in the oil at around £1,000. Over 5 years, the Mazda does not send you any of those bills because Mazda never fitted any of those parts. You are buying the absence of future invoices. That is the whole trade. Quick favour before the top 3. If this has already made you rethink what is on your shortlist, tap like. Costs you nothing, and it helps this reach somebody about to spend £8,000 on a car that costs £2,000 a year to keep. Cheers. Number 3. The Lexus NX 300h, 2014 to 2021. Here is the insult that keeps this car cheap. It is just a posh RAV4. Every mechanic in Britain hears that and thinks the same thing. Yes, that is exactly the point. The NX shares its platform and its hybrid system with the Toyota RAV4, which means it inherits Toyota parts availability, Toyota servicing costs, and a hybrid system that Toyota has now built into millions of cars worldwide. And then Lexus adds the leather, the sound insulation, and the build quality on top. Look at what is underneath. A 2.5-litre petrol 4-cylinder running the Atkinson cycle, chain-driven, no turbo, paired to electric motors. The hybrid gearbox has no clutch pack and no torque converter. It is a set of planetary gears. There is essentially nothing in there that wears out the way a conventional automatic does. The brakes last an extraordinary length of time because the car slows itself on the electric motor and the pads only do the last bit of the stop. I see these come in at well over 100,000 miles still on original discs. It is not quick and it drones if you bury the throttle, which is why enthusiasts talk it down. Money. A well-kept NX 300h sits somewhere around £11,000 to £16,000 depending on year and mileage. That car was well north of 35,000 new. It is a petrol, so it drives into every clean air zone in this country and pays nothing. No charge, no argument. No worrying about what the next city announces. And here is the part almost nobody uses. Toyota and Lexus run a service-activated warranty. Every qualifying service at an official centre adds another 12 months of manufacturer cover again and again until the car is 10 years old or has done 100,000 miles. It applies to used cars. It does not need a perfect history. Ring a Lexus centre with the registration and ask how many years of eligibility are left. It takes one phone call and it can be worth more than every extra you will ever be sold in a showroom. Everybody asks about the hybrid battery. In the trade, it is the thing that almost never comes in. That is the sensible one. Number 2 is the one that British buyers have ignored for 20 years, while farmers and vets quietly bought every single one. Number 2, the Subaru Forester, the 2-litre petrol, 2013 to 2018. Subaru sell almost nothing in this country, a rounding error compared with the big brands. Most people watching this could not tell you where their nearest dealer is. So the used ones sit there and the price falls to meet the silence. Now here is what you are actually looking at. Permanent, symmetrical 4-wheel drive. Not a front-wheel drive car with a clutch pack that occasionally wakes up. Proper full-time drive to all 4 corners, with the boxer engine mounted low, which is why the thing feels so planted in bad weather. Chain-driven petrol. No turbo on the standard car, no particulate filter. Visibility that shames every modern SUV because Subaru had not yet been told that thick pillars and gun-slit windows were fashionable. And the ground clearance is real. If you live up a farm track, or you are the one in the village who ends up towing everybody else out in February, this is the car. It is thirsty. Low 30s for miles per gallon is realistic, and there is no point pretending otherwise. Money. A tidy petrol Forester with history is around £5,000 to £8,000. Parts are more specialist than a Honda, and you want an independent who knows Subarus rather than the cheapest garage on the industrial estate, because the boxer layout means some jobs are done differently. Check the oil level regularly and check the service history for it. That is the single most important habit with these engines, and it costs you nothing. Now the comparison, because this is where the sums land. Take a premium German four-wheel drive SUV of the same age and the same money. On that one, a particulate filter is £1,000 to £1,800, a timing chain job is £1,200 to £2,000, and air suspension struts are £1,200 to £2,000 a corner. Any two of those and you have spent more than the car is worth. The Forester will use more fuel and cost you less. That is the trade, and for a lot of people, it is the right one. And that brings us to number one, because if the Forester is the practical one, number one is the ridiculous one. It cost over £60,000 when it was new, and you can have it for the price of a 5-year-old Fiesta. Number one, the Lexus RX 450h, 2009 to 2015. A full-size luxury SUV. 3.5-litre V6 petrol hybrid. Four-wheel drive, leather, wood, seats that heat and cool, sound insulation that makes a motorway feel like a library. £60,000 of car when it was new. You can buy a good one today for somewhere around £7,000 to £11,000. Now let me tell you what one of these looks like on a ramp, because this is the bit that never makes it into the adverts. The engine is a naturally aspirated V6, chain-driven, no turbochargers, no belt to change, no particulate filter because it is a petrol. The hybrid gearbox has no clutch and no torque converter, just planetary gears and 2 motors. The brakes barely wear because regeneration does most of the stopping. I've never had one in with a failed bottom end, not once. And here is the victim, because there is always one. A customer of mine had a German diesel SUV of the same age. Bought it because somebody told him diesel was the sensible choice. Over 3 years it had a particulate filter, an exhaust gas recirculation valve, a set of injectors, and then the timing chain started rattling on cold starts. That last quote alone was over £2,000, because on that engine you go in from the back. His running total across 3 years was north of £5,000, on a car worth about £9,000. He asked me what to buy. I told him to find an RX 450h with a full history. He paid £9,500 for one on 96,000 miles. In the 2 years since, it has had 2 services, 1 set of tyres, a battery for the 12-volt system, and a set of front pads. That is the list. The big scary question is the hybrid battery, and I am not going to dodge it. They do eventually go. When they do, reconditioned units are typically in the region of £800 to £1,500 fitted at a hybrid specialist, and there are plenty of them now in this country. Read that number again. The thing everybody is frightened of costs less than 1 German timing chain job. The trade-offs are real. It is a big petrol V6, so you are looking at somewhere around 30 to 35 miles per gallon on a run, and road tax on these is not cheap. It is a car for somebody doing 8,000 or 9,000 miles a year in enormous comfort, not 200 miles a day. But it is a petrol, which means it drives into central London and every clean air zone in Britain and pays nothing, while the diesel executive SUV that was supposed to be the sensible choice gets charged or sold at a loss. £60,000 of car, £9,000 of money, a V6 that will do 300,000 miles. And the only reason it is cheap is that the badge does not impress anybody at a dinner party. That is not a compromise. That is the best value SUV in Britain right now, and hardly anybody is brave enough to buy one. Quick recap. 6. Honda CR-V petrol. 5. Hyundai Santa Fe. 4. Mazda CX-5 petrol. 3. Lexus NX 300h. 2. Subaru Forester. 1. Lexus RX 450h. Here is the honest takeaway. Every car on that list is cheap for a reason, and not one of those reasons is mechanical. Wrong badge, wrong fuel, wrong decade of fashion. The market price is reputation. The workshop price is reality. The gap between those two things is where your money is sitting. So do this before you buy anything and it costs you nothing. Write down the engine in the car you are considering and get a price for every expensive failure on it. Turbo, belt, chain, particulate filter, gearbox, air suspension. Add up what those are likely to cost you over 3 years. If that total is more than the car is worth, you are looking at the wrong car, no matter how good the badge looks on your driveway. And if it is a Toyota or a Lexus, ring the dealer with the registration and ask how many years of service-activated warranty that exact car is still eligible for. One phone call. Now, I want to hear from you. What is the SUV you were told to avoid that turned out to be the best car you ever owned? Put it in the comments with the mileage, because that list is worth more to the person shopping this weekend than anything a magazine will print. If this helped, hit like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Look after it, and it will look after you. This video is based on publicly available recall notices, manufacturer statements, reliability surveys, and independent trade evidence current at the time of publication. Individual vehicle outcomes vary. Prices, tax rules, and warranty terms change, and some models may have had subsequent updates, recalls, or improvements. Nothing here is a substitute for a qualified inspection of your own vehicle. Always obtain current information and independent advice before making any purchase or repair decision.